Growing competition from fintech is leading to a blockbuster year for bank consolidation. S&P Global projects more than $63 billion worth of bank mergers this year. That's actually the highest since the '08 financial crisis. And it includes Valley Bank, which just announced a bank merger with Bank Leumi USA to create the 29th largest U.S. bank by assets. The deal will help Valley grow its technology and venture capital business and is expected to close early next year. Valley shares are up 2% today, more than 30% this year. And for more, let's welcome in the president and CEO, Ira Robbins. Ira, welcome back. So this is an Israeli bank, or explain the story here to me and why this makes sense for you as an acquisition.
So Bank Leumi USA is a subsidiary, or is their own privately chartered, domestically chartered bank here in the United States. There is a bank, Blida, which is in Israel, but this is a separate organization. For us, as we think about our opportunities, the banking landscape has dramatically changed over the last few years. Historically, one will look at M&A and think about dots on a map, and based on how customers really actually integrated with those organizations. Today, zip code geography, as I like to refer to it as, isn't as persistent as to how we historically thought about banking. More about business lines, more about how individual customers bank with us. And the branch really becomes the brand as opposed to the center of geography for each individual customer. And as we think about M&A, and it appears many of our peers are beginning to go down this path as well, the business line focus and the ability to provide scale through those individual business lines is really what's driving a lot of the M&A activity today.
It's everything that you describe, of course, we all know resonates as true, that this is the way that it works today. So what are the advantages of that? What are the drawbacks? It basically means, so you think about the cable industry, for instance, and wherever they have their build out, that's kind of the monopoly. That's what the customer has to pick from. And then all of a sudden along comes streaming. So in a banking world where, it matters to some extent what my local bank is, of course, it always kind of will. But all of a sudden I can go online now and choose from a zillion wallets with crypto and all these other things going on. So what do you do as, do you focus then on kind of competing with those major fintech players? Do you kind of look for B2B opportunities? And, what makes sense to you in this environment?
That's a great question. I think a lot of question that many boards really battle with today as we think about all the different approaches that companies take towards M&A. For Valley, I think it goes down to the individual customer and what does that relationship look like from a value proposition perspective. And we were able to attract amazing talent in our organization. We think by merging with Bank Leumi, we'll be able to attract even greater talent that can then utilize some of that technology that we've been scaling up within the organization to provide an unbelievable customer experience. I think the one thing that you mentioned, though, is you talked about it being similar in a multitude of different industries. And it goes back to talent. And the challenge is it's not just in the banking space, but the technology talent and the ability to attract and retain that technology talent becomes greater and greater, not just in the banking space, but in all the other areas that you alluded to earlier. So it is a dramatic shift that's happening in the banking space. Fintech, really, I'm not looking at it really so much as a competition, really, but as an opportunity to really partner with some of these. And how do we create the infrastructure where we can be the partner of choice for many of the fintechs?
Yeah, and finally, what would you say about this technology focus that Bank Leumi itself offers? Why is that attractive to you, and what are Valley's ambitions here?
It's one of the definitely key attractions that we have. First of all, they have an amazing team located really out in California as well as here in New York, which is the initial attraction. But they have relationships with a lot of the individual companies that we think are going to have absolute growth potential that would be significant to us. So it's an area from an economic perspective that we think is going to continue to grow. And for our shareholders, for our employees, for our communities, for our customers, it's important for us to make sure we have an unbelievable footstep into that business. And we think with Bank Leumi that we really provide that specific entree. We could be more